Hi everyone, my name is Yashwant. Today we're gonna discuss HTML tables. Introduction. First, HTML table is an arrangement of table in rows and columns, or possible in a more complex structure. So, the HTML table is arrangement of we can arrange the data in form of rows and columns, and tables are widely used in communication, research, and data analysis. And we we suppose we need to store information in different sectors, so we need tables. So tables play a pivot role in communication, research, and data analysis. Tables are useful for various tasks such as presenting text information and numerical data. It can be used to compare two or more items in the table form layout. Tables are used to create databases. So tables, we can also create databases using tables. So tables may play vital role in many sectors. And next, so we're gonna discuss HTML table. HTML table tag is to display data in tabular form. That means in the combination of rows and columns. There can be many columns in a row. So first of all, is before I have said table is the combination of row and column. So there may be number of rows and number of columns in a table that which can store the information. And so we can create a table to display data in tabular form using table element. So to to store the information in a table, so first of all we have to create a table. It can be possible by the table element in a HTML, with the help of and to store the data in the table with the help of these elements can be possible. TR element, TD element, and TH element. We got we, to know more about these elements further. So in each table row is defined by TR tag, and table address defined by TH tag, and table data is defined by TD tag. So here TR tag means table row. So we can insert data in a particular particular row. We can use a TR tag in a table element, and and th and to define a head of the table we can use a th tag, and table data to define a table data we can use a td tag. So this tags must be placed in a table, the main table element, so that can be possible to inform to insert a data into a table. And syntax, the syntax of the table will be open. This is the open angular brace, and this is the closed brace table. And to mention the part of the table, we can mention the any number size. Suppose we're gonna let's see example, and this is the tr uh, table row, this is the table head, and this is the closing of the th tag, and this is the closing of the um, tier tag. This is the content of the table. We can insert any content into the table, and this is the closing tag of the table. Next, we're going to discuss some of the tags in the HTML table. Tag and description table. The previously I have said to create a table, we must want a table element. It defines a table, and tier tag. A tier tag, it defines a row in a table. Before I have said th, and it defines a header of the header cell in a table, and td tag, it defines a cell in a table. That means it, the information that we have, what we have to store in a table, that can be stored in a in a cell form. The cell form is consists of a number of rows, and it is a combination of rows and columns. And the next one, caption. It defines the table caption. Suppose if you have to mention what type of data you have mentioned the table, and what type of data you have inserted to the table, it can be known by using a caption. And call group. It specifies a group of one or more columns in a table for formatting. That means we can style the number of columns at a time. We can use a call group. and it can be possible by the CSS attributes we're gonna discuss later. And the next one, column element. It is used with the call group element to specify column properties for each call and T-body element. It is used to group the T-body content in a table. And the next one, T-head. It is used to group the header content in a table. That means you're gonna let's see I gonna discuss later. And T-footer. It is used to group the footer content in a table. That means you can uh, you can give a conclusion about the table that can be the information can be inserted in the footer of the table. Let's see. We're gonna let's explain one by one tags in detail. Next, we're gonna discuss about T-body tag. And the HTML T-body tag is used to group the table rows together, which indicates that this is the body part of the table. So that the main motive of the table T-body tag is that to group the number of rows together. So the T-body tag must be a child of a table element. So that it describes that the table element must be a parent of the T-body element, and the T-body element is the child of the um, table element. So that after table element only the T-body element must be placed. The T-body element is used along with T-head element and T-foot element, which shows the different part of the table that are table head, table body, and table footer. However, it does not affect the layout of the table. So the T-body element must be placed along with the T-body element and table foot element. So that it tells that the table must be contains the different parts, and that describes the body of the table or head of the table or T-foot. So I have discussed that T-foot, um, the use of the default. It describes the extra information about the table that can be placed after the body of the table. And the next one, T body. This is the main important T body element that tells the how the information can be stored in rows and columns. So that we gonna so let us discuss an example. See that I have created a HTML file that that tells the T-body element. So let us go and run. See, this is the body of the table, which can be described by using the T-body element in HTML. And there is the combination of rows and columns, and these are the employee ID, name, email ID. These are the columns, and the in columns there are the number of rows. The information can be stored in the form of rows and columns. So these are all comes under the T-body. And see the example of the T-body tag. This text can be comes and the caption element that can be discussed later. And we can so this is the example of the T-body. And so the next one, table tr tr element and td element tags. This can be tr means table rows, td means the data table data which can be inserted in a table in the form of rows and columns. And the first one, table tr defines a row within a table. So it defines the table, it defines the rows in a table. Syntax, this is the open tag and this is the closed tag. So this can be this is the important one. When we open the any type of element, then it must be closed. The, closed the it must be closed. Otherwise, it affected the output. So, there are some tags which are called void elements. So void elements means there need not to be um, a closed tag, only a open tag. Example, BR element. BR element means it can give you a space between one element to another element. Let us discuss about void elements in next session. Um, the next one is TD element. Defines a cell within a table. Within a table. Syntax. TD. Open tag and a closed tag. And the next one, caption. It defines a caption of the table. So I have discussed before that example of the table tag, that is the head of the table. So that can be mentioned by using a caption table. It must be inserted after the table tag, so that we gonna we are discussing about the table. The table is related to which what type of information that can be comes under the caption table, caption element. So the information what you have to be uh, d- um, discuss the about the table can be placed in the caption table, caption open tag and close the tag. Suppose that you have created a table about the fruits and their cost. So now we have to give extra information that this is the table about the fruits and tables, fruits and their costs, that can be inserted in middle of the open tag and close tag. So now let us discuss an example of the TR and TD elements of the HTML. See, this is the table row, and this is the table row element of the open tag, and this is the closed tag. In between this I have inserted the TD elements with the name cell 1, and this is the table data, cell 1, and the next one cell 2, and the next one cell 3. So let us run. See, there is the this is the first row. There is only one row with so there is only one row and three columns, names cell 1, cell 2, and cell 3. And this is the and now we're gonna create the next row. See, let's create the and number of rows. Tr, td, and the next one I go on create some version. Td. See, I have created the next row, um, um, the second row with the data. The first cell will be contain the Kohli, and the next cell Rohit, and the third cell Dhoni. So now save the file and run, and let's execute the file. See, there are two rows. The first row will contain the data cell 1, cell 2, cell 3, and the first one Kohli, under the cell 1, Kohli comes, and under the cell 2, Rohit comes, and under the cell 3, Dhoni comes. Now let us, and and I want to tell you that uh, if you want to give a head of the main head of the table, that means head of the columns, you're gonna the help you go through with the help of the th element. Let us discuss that in next examples, and we're gonna discuss the caption of the table through this example. See, I have created the caption monthly savings and and with the two rows. The first row contains the month and savings. See, I have discussed before only the head of the columns can be mentioned with the help of the table head. I have created the two heads of the columns. First one is month and the second one is savings. Under the head of the column, it comes month. The month belongs to January, and the savings of the January belongs to dollars. I have mentioned, suppose you're gonna go through 100 rupees. So save the file and run and execute the file. See, I have mentioned that before only the caption of the table can be um, defined by using the caption element in HTML. So that you can see monthly savings is the caption of the table, and that the table head can be month and savings. So I have to tell that by default the head of the table can be bold and center of the cell. They can be aligned the center of the cell. See, and under the month, the next row will comes under the January, and the savings will be 100. So now suppose you're gonna add the next one more row in the July. You can, um, with the savings 200 rupees. Save the file and execute the file. Now the output will be comes with the three rows. The first row can be month and savings, which can be columns, and the next one July and January with the savings. Respectively, the savings of the January will be 100 rupees and the July at 200 rupees. See, now we can discuss call group element in a HTML tables. So it specifies a group of one or more columns in a column for formatting. So we can we can style the columns at a time by using the call group element in HTML tables. It must be a child of table element and after any caption elements, and before T head, T body, and T foot, tier and tier elements, and it can be placed after the table element and caption elements, and the call group must be placed before the T head element, a T body element, and T foot and tier elements. And the syntax of the call group element will be call group. And see, here we can group the number of columns as we can as we require, and and this is the closing tag of the call group, and the next one is tfoot. Before I have said that if you have an you have to give an extra information that can be related to table, we can give uh, as the table at the foot of the table, the help of the tfoot, with the help of the tfoot element, and and use the group the footer content in the table. So the content what we have to be concluded about the table can be given at the footer of the table with the help of the t foot of the table. And example of an example of the curve group. And see, I have created the curve group with the two columns, and we can and span. column with the span to uh, the spanning means we can combine the columns as we can combine the columns as as we required. Uh, at that time we can style the columns. And the next one, um, I have created a call group with the columns. First column, first it represents the two columns, and it represents the one column. And let us execute the file. See, I have given the headings of the ISBN, title, price, and and the next one, the next row I have created ISBN as a 3476896, and the title my first HTML, and price is $53. And the next one I have created. See, I have created the table, a table foot of the table. And in that I have created the table row, and the data of the table to the call span of the sim. The call span means we can discuss the call span in upcoming slides. And the next one, with the call span I have created the three number of columns, and the content of the table footer will be this is the foot of the table. uh, Example, suppose let us let us execute the file. See that I have mentioned the first one call group. Um Sorry. See, I have given the call group and the call span too. This is the call span. This is the which can be designed with the red color, can be background will be red color, that I have given call span. And the next one is call column, which is the single, I have given the yellow color. See, this column will be colored background will be yellow color. And at the this all are comes under the call group. And then the next one, I have given the table head, table three headings. This is the ISBN, title, price. I have mentioned before only. By default, the headings, the TH elements can be bold and center. See, this can be bold and they have been centered by default. And then the next one, I have given 34786 as the ISBN number. And so I have given the table foot T foot element as the call span 3. 1, 2, 3. We can combine the columns with the call span. I have I can discuss the next uh, later. And I have given this is the table, this is the foot of the table. And for suppose you can give any of the text before in the footer of the table. Suppose uh, this is the demo of the HTML tables. So you can give any of the text uh, under the table foot. Um, so that's all about that's all about call group and the T4 elements. And we move to the next slide. And now we're gonna discuss about the table attributes. And the table attributes in the HTML are used to customize tables, such as changing its background color, alignment, width, border, etc. So before example, I have created the background color as red and yellow color, and these are also comes under with the help of the table attributes. Now we're gonna discuss about one by one table attributes. First one, cell spacing. It refers to the spacing between the cells in a table. Suppose no, we can give a space between the cells in a table by cell spacing attribute in a table. In HTML table, by default, the space is set to the 2 pixels. So now we can change the space to as we required. Suppose I have to set the space between the cells as 10 pixels, 50 pixels. There's user's choice. That can be user's choice. The syntax will be the syntax be table and cell spacing equals to the, the you can give as 2 pixels, 10 pixels in the space attribute, and this is the attribute, and that we have given the values that um, the next one is cell padding. It refers to the spacing or padding inside the cells. And before I have said that cell spacing, there is the space between the all the cells of the table. Now we can create a padding, and then we can create a space uh, between among the cell and the text of the cell. Um, with the help of the cell padding attribute in that HTML. It refers to the I have said that by default the padding is set to 0. By default the padding will be, and the space between the text of the cell and the body of the cell can be 0. That we can change with the later we can change with the help of the cell padding cell padding attribute by assigning a some value to the attribute. The next one is table border. It adds border to the table, and the syntax will be table border. And there you can give the value as you required, one or two. And in HTML there will be default in HTML border. I gonna discuss in the by example, and the syntax will be table border, and value as you require, what you have be given as you require. And the next one is you gonna discuss cell padding example. See, um, I have created the see. And heading it is the heading of the table cell padding. Suppose you have you're gonna decrease the size of the cell heading of the table. We can give h4 from h1 to h6 as you required. See the size of the cell heading will be decreased. And the next one I have said that cell padding will be is the space between the and I mean space between the text of the cell and the border of the cell. I have given that 50, and suppose I have given 100 value, and see automatically the space between the text of the cell and border of the cell will be uh, varying. And suppose I have given one see the space between the cell text of the cell and the body of the cell will be decreased, varied. Suppose as you require, what suppose I have given 48, so it's been varying. And the next I have said that before only head of the central line and bold, and I have created 3 rows with the Jill Smith, and my first name will be Jill, and the next will be Smith, and the next one. Let, execute the file. See, this is the cell padding. The text between the space between the text of the cell and the um, border of the text. Let us discuss about the next cell spacing. Cell spacing. Before I have said that the cell spacing is the space between the all the cells, and it can be controlled. It can be managed with the cell spacing attribute in the tables, HTML tables, and with the a specified value to be assigned to the HTML attribute of the cell space attribute cell spacing. Mm, See, cell spacing. Show preview. See, I have given a cell spacing as an heading, and we can and I have given the extra information that the change the space between the cells with the border spacing property. That is the CSS property that is we're gonna discuss in the later. And the next one, cell spacing. um, I suppose I have given the value one. See, the spaces between all the cells will be uh, will be small. That is the suppose I gonna change the cell spacing 100. See, the automatically when I updating the value of the value, then the 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 output will be changing as the space between each cell will be 100. And if I given 10, see the spacing will be varied. And this is about the cell spacing. Let's gonna execute the file. See, I have given the spacing about the 30 and 10, sorry, 10, and the spacing between the each cell will be 30. And the next one, now we can gonna discuss alignment attribute. It is used to align the table or the text inside table cells. Syntax: table and the align attribute equals to center or left or right. As you wish, you can align the table as center or left or right. And we can also align the text. We can we can also align the text in the table with the help of the TD attribute, TD element. And the next one is call span. It is used to match multiple columns of a table into a single column. So the um, the use of the use of the call span is that we can match number of columns that as you require into a single column. And this is useful that when we using the that when we design the table columns at a time that we can, it is useful. And syntax of the call span: table call span is equals to um that is um number of columns. The number of columns may be one or two, as and so on, that it depends upon the user. And the next one is row span. And the row span, it is used to match multiple rows of a table into a single row. Similarly, it is also similar to the call span, but the call span is only used to match number of columns into a single column. But when it comes to row span, it is useful to match multiple rows a table into a single row. It rows of a table into a single row. So uh, syntax of the sorry. So syntax of the row span is table row span. See that they are, and you can match multiple rows as you require, as one or two or three. It depends upon the user. And the next one is cell color. It is used to add colors of a colors to the cells of a table. So if you want to uh, add a color to the cell, then we can use the cell color attribute in a attribute of the table. So it, it is used to color the cells. Um, it is used to design the cell. Syntax: table basic color. Basic color means background color, and it is one of the attribute. And as you mentioned, and the color what you may be interested to design the cell. So that color may be um, assigned to the basic color. And the next one is font family. The font family defines the font to be used for the content of the table. So if you want to if the content of the if you want to style the content of the table, then we can use the font family. Um and, and the syntax of the font family table style goes to font family is an attribute, and you can assign some value to the font family as like font style. And there may be different various font styles may be available. You can choose one among them, one or two, or maybe more. You can choose and assign to the font family. And the next one is font size. The font size defines the font size to be used for the content of the table. And you can also vary the size of the font by with the help of the font size attribute and syntax of the fonts and table. And it uh, can be it can be implemented two ways. One is inline alignment, and the next one is through CSS file. So now we're gonna it can be designed with the inline alignment with the help of the um, style element and the font size attribute and font size. You can give any value assigned to be the font size attribute. And we're gonna so let us go through an example. Alignment HTML. See, yeah, I have created a table with the table has as a first name, last name, and savings, and the all other will be content of the table. And suppose if you want to view vertical alignment, so simply I have with the help of the CSS property vertical align. Suppose see. By default, the vertical align of the contents of the table row and table element of the middle and middle. So see, when I have changed the vertical align, before the content will be at the center. So when I have changed to the vertical align, automatically it comes to the vertical align center. Suppose if I change the value to the bottom, see the all the contents of the all the contents of the cells, all the cells of the content will be moved bottom. So if you want a horizontal alignment, then you change the attribute to text terrain. Text terrain. See, if you text terrain change the value to the center, and see automatically the contents of the cells will be center aligned. And if you central aligned, mm, and the next one so go to the next example, call span. See, before I have said that this call span means to merge number of columns into a single column, and row span means to merge in more rows into a single row. So now we go through an example on the call span. See, cell that spans two columns. I have given the heading and to the and see, I have given the content of the name to the call span too. So it merges two columns into a single column. See, um, show preview. See, the name of and the name will be occupies the two columns as a single column. So it merges two columns into a single column. Suppose if I have given these two, three, see, it merges um, three columns in a single column. So as you required, you can match to more than number of columns as mentioned 10 or 20, 30. That's your wish. And the next one, um, suppose if you want to um, let us execute the example. See the name, the head of the The name will be occupies the space of the two columns as merged into a single column. And the next one go through an row span. See, before I explained call span, now I can explain row span. Row span. As you know, row span means merging the number of rows into a single row, and with the help of the row span attribute, we can merge number of rows into a single row. See, and I have given the row span as value. I have assigned the value to the row span attribute. Now we can preview the code. See, row span means it merges the two rows into a single row. If you want to give as your wish for sorry one see uh, the it will be occupied as a single row, and if you give two, it occupies the two rows, and that means it merges two rows into a single row. And I have created table that name and phone. Um, and the next we can see an example based on HTML table, and I have created the uh, chain table. See, I have assigned so preview. So and here I have given the border as a with the CSS property style property as border as 1 pixel solid. If you if you um, if you take on this, don't say backspace, and the border will be automatically changed. See, and the default of the border attribute of HTML will uh, be seen like this. If you want to style the border as a solid border, you can use the HTML, CSS style property, and see, and I again change the border to the 1 pixel solid, and with the color black. You can change to as your wish, in red color, sim, and if you and the next one, I have alignment of the table will be center, and I have given the heading will be table. And see, in before session, we have discussed the call span attribute that I have given the content to the academic year 2023 to the with the call span of three. So that means merging the three columns into a single column. See, one, two, three, merging these three columns into a single column. That and I have given the content as academic year 2023, and the next one row span. And that we have discussed the row span that matching the number of rows as we required into a single column, a single row. So see, I have matched 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 rows into a single row, and the next one, what we have discussed this table rows, table data, and that we have created 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 10 rows and inserted the data into the table. And the next one, mm, so that's all about the HTML tables, and that's all about the HTML tables. Thank you guys.